of you got to hear from Chetan Charan Prabhu. He's in Hyderabad.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
We had a very detailed and long session with Prabhuji. We are very fortunate.
Mm.
We spent almost 3 to 4 hours with all of us.
Yes. Very nice. So therefore, I was also in Hyderabad, so I got to attend his class today at Abbots. I'm at Radha Madan Mohan Temple.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji, you're in Hyderabad.
Yes, I'm in Hyderabad on the way back to Pune. Yes.
Okay.
So today I got to hear from him. Very nice class. Ona Kuriya Katha Rutim. Remember some Krishna. That is like a sword. So we spoke on. So mantra 13. अन्य देवाः येवाहु संभवाद अन्य राहु असंभवाद इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम येन सद्विचक्षिरे. One result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes. Another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authority. So same thing continued mantra 10. There we saw about 10 items of 20 items of knowledge, 18 items of knowledge. Then we saw on definition of vidya. Then the knowledge has to be taken from a dhira. So Prabhupada's approach to this 13th mantra, which Chetan covered last Friday, Prabhupada starts with hearing from undisturbed authorities, adhira, versus dhira, hearing from dhira versus those who are self-made spiritual masters. Basically, self-made gurus, self-styled gurus. So Prabhupada speaks on that. What they try to do, you do anything, everything is ultimately you will achieve success. All paths lead to same goal. That is what first Prabhupada covers in the first paragraph. One achieves different result by different modes of worship. These are teachings of Dhira. So Prabhupada or any bona fide acharya says, Yanti Deva Vrta Devan, Krishna himself, Pitran Yanti Pitran Vata, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja. Worship Krishna, we go to Krishna. But what these so-called self-styled gurus they teach that all paths lead to same goal. Yatomat Tatopat. You are doing social service, you'll get liberation. You are taking care of your parents, then also get liberation. Okay, you are doing Desh Bhakti, then also get liberation. You are taking care of a pet very nicely, then also will basically all paths lead to same goal. Something like that. But Prabhupada gives analogy. If you take a ticket to Kolkata, you can't go to Mumbai. So you have to take a particular ticket. So then Prabhupada speaks about in the fourth paragraph, what is the benefit of hearing from Adhira? By hearing from Adhira, one can become a devotee of Krishna. So before Prabhupada went to West, there were so many Bhagavad Gita editions, but once Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, so many ISKCON temples, 108 temples, and so many devotees all over the world, all different countries, they became devotees. Therefore, then that is the reason Prabhupada kept his Bhagavad Gita as it is, the way Krishna told. Then, so Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita, Am Sarasya Prabhu, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Atharva, Ved, Narayana Upanishad 4, Atharva Ved Maha Varaha Puran, then Brahma Samhita, Bhagavad Gita. So those who are intelligent devotees like all of you, then that is the first part of the mantra 13. The second part of mantra 13, Prabhupada brings about those who come in bona fide disciplic succession, they become servants of Madhava, they become devotees. And those who get connected to self-styled gurus, they start doing Manav Seva or any of the such services, either altruism, socialism, patriotism, and they give a tag of Seva. And they say helping hands are better than praying hands. So Prabhupada, the second part of this theme of verses, he highlights on this Madhav Seva versus Manav Seva. So devotees who hear from a bona fide disciplic succession, they hear by hearing from undisturbed Acharya Radhira, they develop love for Krishna, and thus basically they know love of Krishna is the goal of life. Prema Pramattam Mahan. And therefore, they want to practice Krishna consciousness. And thus they engage in Krishna service. Buddha Bhava Samannitaha. On the other hand, the disciples are so-called followers of the self-styled gurus, because Guru himself is doing mental speculation, and they are because of that, what happens is they're half educated in spirituality or in Vedic literature, and they themselves are disturbed. So-called spiritual leaders, they just come down to serve humanity, serve mankind. That is good, but not in the garb of spirituality. You do it as a social worker, but not in the garb of spiritualist. So Prabhupada addresses that point. And then Prabhupada makes a point that Krishna is a root. So Madhav Seva is Manav Seva. But pretenders and pseudo incarnations have their own unholy propaganda. So when we worship Lord, when we build a temple, when we do some gorgeous Rath Yatra, most of them are when Abhishekam is done to the Lord. They think this milk can be used for feeding so many hungry stomachs. This much of money which is spent for this Rath Yatra can be spent for feeding hungry stomachs or curing some people who are deceased. So when it comes to D20, when it comes to IPL, when it comes to FIFA Cup, when it comes to so many sensitive activities, they don't have any issue. But when Lord comes into the picture, they become envious. And therefore, Prabhupada uh, commented in his commentary for the last verse, these impersonalists or Mayavadis are worse than atheists, because atheists anyway they are open-heartedly killing Lord. But impersonalists in the garb of spiritualists or transcendentalists, they are trying to kill Lord. So they can't understand it. Therefore, they continue the unholy propaganda. So real service to humanity is rendered when one teaches surrender to Krishna. And that is what this mantra is telling. And we are fortunate soul, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Ji, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So Hari, Guru, and Shastras. So Upanishads that are for sannyasis, those who want to get liberated, technical, Sanskrit is very complex, they indirectly point towards Krishna. Bhagavad Gita directly and Bhagavatam directly points towards Krishna. That is what Prabhupada brings to the point. And devotee's heart is cleansed by all contamination of modes of passion ignorance by Lord's. Basically, externally, Lord appears as Vedas, Lord sends devotees, Guru. And internally, Lord is as a Paramatma. He sees the practice. Shanvata Shraddhya Nityam Ranasasta Swachesitam Kalena Atidirgena Bhagavan Kshate Hridi. So Lord who is inside the heart, seeing every individual is running his own race in bhakti also. Seeing how much, which devotee is very eager, Lord does the cleansing process. Sranvata Swapata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanat. Vedantasya Badrani Vidinoti Shotsatam. So Prabhupada quotes, anybody from any part of the world, Kirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Veera Shumba, Yavana Kashade, Yanesha Papa, Yatapashaya, Sudyan Tasmai Prabhu Vishnu. So because the pure devotee carries Lord in his heart, and because of that, devotees like Srila Prabhupada can travel all over the world, and from all species of humans, all human species, they can initiate them, they can purify them, and they can engage them in Archavikra Seva and give them Mantra Diksha, and they can make them pure devotee and send them back to Godhead. So the stage of perfection is the path of grace. So Bhakti is a path of grace. Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas, and Antaryami, he purifies the heart. So Prabhupada is quoting. So one result is obtained by accepting a self-styled spiritual master, so-called spiritual master, who is coming in modernization of the spirituality or transcendental practice, or coming those who are coming in parampara. So who will take diksha and parampara and practice in parampara, they have a different destination, and those who don't come in parampara, they have a different destination. That is what we covered. That is what we all saw in the last session by Chaitanya Prasad Prabhu. So now we'll continue the 14th mantra. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo vayam sa. Sambhutim vinasham cha mrityum tirtva shambhutyamrutam ashvate. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo vayam saha. Vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutyamrutam Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastadveda vayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutyamrutam ashnute शम्भुतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेद उभयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा शम्भुत्यामृतमाश्नुते. Yes, some three devotees can recite this.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। संभूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो वेदो भयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा संभूत्यां तम् अश्नुते। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। संभूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदोऽव्ययं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतमश्नुते। हरे कृष्ण।
सम्भूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतम् अश्नुते. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all of you for reciting this mantra. Very nice mantra. Very exactly like Vidya Avidya. We are discussing Sambhutim and Vinashanam. So here in mantra 12, Sambhutim Asambhutim. Sambhutim referred to impersonal worship and Asambhutim referred to demigod worship. And in mantra 13, Sambhutim referred to Lord Krishna and Asambhutim referred to impersonal worship and demigod worship. So here Sambhutim cha Vinasham cha is Sambhutim is Artha Pravritti and Vinashanam is Anartha Nivritti. This is how Vedanta tells in his commentary. That which obstacles on the path of Bhakti, Vinashanam. And Vinashanam also refers to the temporary manifestation of this material world. Basically our body. We don't have to see anywhere outside. We can just see our body. If we cross your age beyond 50 and if you get up in the morning and if you don't have pain in the body, that means either you are liberated or either we are liberated or we are dead. So surely, as sure as death, before death comes the diseased body or a weak body. Therefore, Sambhutim refers to Lord Krishna's signs, the knowledge about Lord Krishna, worship of Lord Krishna, and Vinashanam refers to understanding the temporary manifestation of this world. So Sambhutim cha Vinasham cha, side by side. So one has to learn about it side by side. So let's go to the word meaning. Prabhupada translates it. Shambhutim, the eternal personality of Godhead, His transcendental name, form, pastimes, qualities, paraphernalia, the variegatedness. Basically, Lord is omnipotent, and Lord's name, form, pastimes, qualities, paraphernalia, the variegatedness of His dham, everything is not different from Him. Because Lord, similarly, Lord name and all his paraphernalia related to him have the same potency. That is meaning of omnipotency of the Lord. So Sambhutim here refers to Krishna and his attributes. And the Cha is side by side. Vinashanam, the temporary material manifestation of demigods, men, animals with their false names, fame, etc. Cha, again, side by side. Ya, one who. Tat, that. Veda knows. Ubayam, both. Veda, Ubayam, both. Saha, along with, side by side. Vinashena, with everything liable to be vanquished. Mrityum, death. Tirtva, surpassing. Sambhutyam, in the eternal kingdom of God. Amritam, deathlessness. Ashnute, enjoys. So, Prabhupada translates it as one should know perfectly the personality of God Sri Krishna and his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men, and animals. When one knows this, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it, And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Now, how this Upanishad, tells side by side. It told about mantra 11, 9, 10, 11. Vidya, avidya. Now it is telling about sambhutim, asambhutim. Why? Generally, when small children have parties, and when the guest brings many cakes for a party, round cake, cupcake, a cake with a strawberry, with icing on it, with a cherry, with butterscotch. So when the child has to cut it, he makes a comparative analysis of all the cakes. And that which is like butterscotch filling with crusty truffs in it, with nice cream, he will choose that. So similarly, sambhutim cha vinasham cha. The comparison is made like if a normal cake is given, and if a cake with cream, with butterscotch, or some reddish liquid on it, strawberry sauce on it, punch on it, then the child chooses that more. Similarly, Sambhutim is Lord and he is variegatedness. There is a lot of variety, where the variety is the mother of enjoyment. But the material world, the variety is there, but the variety is stale. You cook something within 3 4 hours, it starts falling. Same thing with the food, same thing with the body, same thing with the rasa. Therefore, it's called mundane rasa, Ritvik rasa. And about bhakti, it's a bhakti rasa. It is ever fresh, navayamanam. So Sambhutim cha Vinasham cha is Krishna and Krishna's attributes, everything which a living entity is eternally meant to be engaged in spiritual world. Therefore, if one has to go to the spiritual world, then from positive side, he has to cultivate that remembrance of Krishna. At the same time, the miseries of this material world indicate the incompatibility with matter. The soul is Sat, Chit, Ananda. But this world is temporary, full of ignorance, and full of suffering. And therefore, this gives us impetus, side by side, seeing the temporary manifestation. Like some of you were telling, Prabhuji, I don't want to travel in this kind of train, the third class train. That is something like Vinashanam. And fortunately, last 15 years, I've been traveling in third class train only for preaching. So that is the Vinashana aspect of the material world. And what is the positive side? After going to the Dham, after going to the temples of Hare Krishna, you get nice prasad, you get nice facilities, and that is like Sambhutim aspect. So, just for making the comparison, what is the meaning of Vinashanam? The meaning of Vinashanam is uh, it's a really stale, it's really distasteful, and it is really temporary. So that is what the point I want to drive home. It's really very, very difficult. If without alternative, it's very possible to settle down for it. So therefore Prabhupada writes, it's a best use of bad bargain. Therefore, the best use of bad bargain is what? Material body is a bad bargain. What is the best use? Using material body for practicing Krishna consciousness, cultivating remembrance of Krishna, his names, his forms, his attributes, is about and transferring your consciousness from this world to that world. That has to be done side by side. So anartha nivritti and artha pravritti. On the other side, the nature of the material world and the nature of the spiritual world. So nature of spiritual world will like Prabhupada writes in the purport of na tad bhasyatu shuryo na sushanka pavakaha yad gatvana nivartante taddama paramama. Prabhupada writes there. One has to be mesmerized by this information. That sky where there is no sun, there is no end of sun, there is no end of moon. Prabhupada writes such statement in his purport that I think Bhagavad Gita purport, one has to be touched by this message. So that is Sambhutim, the positive knowledge of Krishna consciousness, which we actually were engaged in, but we have forgotten now. And Vinashanam means we have tested it again and again, chewing the tube, and we know there is no taste in it. So we should come to the conclusion, materially, there is no taste in this material world. Enough of it. It's like somebody has chewed and thrown it, and again have to chew it. We are chewing it in the new body, but we have done that in previous so many bodies. And same thing we are doing in this life also. That is called as chewing the chew. That is what Prahlad Maharaj says. So again, Prabhupada brings the point here. He starts his purport with immortality. Amaratva is not possible materially. Same thing. Vidya, avidya. Same concept Prabhupada brings. Iti Shushma Dhiranam, he speaks about Dhira. Again, in the last mantra, we started with Dhira versus Adhira. Hearing from self-still Guru. Again, same thing. Prabhupada's analysis is amazing, comparative analysis. So Prabhupada brings in a point in his first paragraph that scientists try to promise that one fine day by medical investigation or by they have come to the point now where they want to tell that you're not his body or brain. Or now people are coming with AI and other things, so many discoveries. So basically, they are trying to give a post-dated check. What is the point of post-dated check? You can't anyway get money from it. It's simply a kora kagas, it's empty paper. In reality, Prabhupada writes in the whole thing, every mortal being is subjected to 6 material transformations, as sure as death. So that is how Prabhupada starts the whole thing with immortality is impossible materially, and immortality is possibly by Krishna's worship. That is what this whole purport drives home. So some devotees can volunteer to read the first paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So can I read, Prabhuji? Immortality is impossible materially. Scientists promise to make us immortal is like post-dated check. In reality, every mortal being is subjected to 6 material transformation. By its so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet it has failed to create a situation in which people need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very clearly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render men deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everyone is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through 6 stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these 6 laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world.
Yes. So Prabhupada is trying to bring the Vinashan aspect here. So basically, Amaratva. But in this, what Prabhupada is using, this mantra, Ishopanishad, in mantra 11, we see Avidya and Vidya. Avidyam Mrityam Tirtva Vidyam Amrutam Ashnute. But here, it is Sambhutim and not Asambhutim. It is Vinashanam. So Prabhupada is speaking about the Vinashanam aspect. So people want to become immortal, but they are trying to meddle with Vinashanam aspect of the material world. They are trying to, as sure as death, matter is going to decay, matter is going to become stale, matter is going to become worn out, whether it is a stone, whether it is a physical object, whether it is a food, whether it is human beings or living beings, it's going to become stale and old. So there are 6 changes. This is called as Vinashanam aspect of the material world. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. And what modern science is trying to do, modern science is trying to meddle with Vinashanam to become immortal. But Upanishad is very clearly telling, till the time you don't come to the aspect of approaching the Sambhutim aspect, if you really want to at all become immortal, you have to touch, you have to investigate, you have to start doing research on Sambhutim aspect. That means you have to become spiritual scientist. Till the time you become material scientist and keep on doing discoveries, research based on matter, giving up the spirit and living aside the controller of both, There are three things. Matter is there. There is spirit who runs the matter and who has created both. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. That is Lord. That is Isha. So, if we want to become immortal, we have, by touching the Vinashanam or the inferior material nature, we can't become eternal or we can't become Amar. We have to take up the Sambhutim aspect. So that Prabhupada is trying to refute by telling that scientists promise to make us immortal is difficult. It's like a false promise because matter, because their whole energy. Prabhupada asked this question when I went to Boston for the first time in 1966. When he went to America, and immediately within first 6-7 months, when he got an appointment with the college, he saw so many departments. There was a department and there was a department library on how the grass grows. And Prabhupada asked, "You have a library on how the grass grows, but why the grass grows? Because soul is there inside. Where is the department for soul research? There was no department. So therefore, science or modern man can try to do so much research on Vinashanam, but that is futile. Why? Because connection is, this place is called as Martyaloka, the place of death. One's lifespan may vary, but ultimately one has to die. In the Gropa, sat in the evening 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock after Gaurarti. Then by night 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it is dead. We can see its feather. We can see its feather everywhere. If you are not covered your food items, it will be floating in that also. So that is the insect. And from there to Brahma, that insect also lives for 100 years, but according to that insect's calculation, according to its prarabdha karma. And Brahma also stays for 100 years, but according to Brahma's calculation. But both have to take birth and both have to die. Just because Brahma stays for long year doesn't mean that he has become eternal or Amar. No. Therefore, this material world is a place of birth. Therefore, the whole 8th canto, the theme of the 8th canto is from Swayambhu Manu to Praja Ruchi, Vaivasvata, or Bali Maharaj, or our Indra who is Purandara. Everybody is fighting for the post, trying to dominate, trying to control, trying to take over the whole universe. But in one day of Brahma, there are Sahasra Yuga, 1000 Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. And in that there are 14 Manus, and each Manu reigns for 72 Manvantara, 72 Divya Yugas. And like that, our Brahma is 50 years completed now. So you can imagine how many Manus appeared in one, and how many Manus come and go in one day of Brahma. So that means we should understand that our tiny span of 70, 80 years is nothing compared to Manu span and Manvantaras. So, but Prabhupada is trying to bring a point here. But this is, we are trying to deal with Vinashanam. We are trying to lord it over the material nature. And therefore, whether you try to lord it over, or you become a boss, or you become a das. Even a boss has to die, even a das has to die. So even a Brahma also leaves his body, even an insect also leaves his body. Because this place is a place of death. That is what he's telling. That is Vinashanam aspect. Second thing is, this first aspect is, this material world has 6 transformations. Therefore, trying to use or trying to become immortal by investigation of science or scientific research in that direction is futile because there are 6 transformations. Second thing is, the whole world is called as Martyaloka. A Brahma or an insect. Both are temporary. Lifespan may vary, but both have to die. If someone can read the second paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Acyuta, the place of death. One's life span may vary, but ultimately one has to die. The duration of life varies according to species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material universe, lives of for millions and billions of years, while a minute germ lives for some hours only. But no one in the material world can survive eternally. Things are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time, and if they continue to live, they grow, create, gradually dwindle, and finally vanish. According to these laws, even the Brahmas, of which there are millions in different universes, are all liable to the death either today or tomorrow. Therefore, the entire material universe is called Mathya Loka, the place of death.
So 6 transformations are birth, growth, maintenance, reproduce, procreate, dwindle, and death. This everybody does, but the lifespan of an insect is very small, very tiny, while that of Brahma is very huge. But both are subject to death. Both have to die. And what is the third aspect of this material world? Whatever little time also we are there, it is simply ignorance. Therefore, Vedas give us a call, wake up call. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya, Asatoma Sadgamaya. This is Asat. From here we will go to spiritual, that is Sat. This is Tamas. You have to go to Jyotirmaya, Jyotirgamaya, that is there is no need of sun and moon. And this is Mrityoma, Mrityaloka. From there you have to go to Amritaloka, that is for spiritual world. So material scientists, someone can read the next part, the third feature.
Hare Krishna. Can I read?
Yes, Srinivas.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, from temporary and ignorance to eternity and knowledge. Material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to their ignorance of Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving the knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. From the Vishnu Purana, we receive the following information. Vishnu Sakti Para Prokta.
विष्णु शक्ति परा प्रोक्ता क्षेत्रज्ञ क्या तथा परा अविद्या कर्म संज्ञाया तृतीया शक्ति रिष्यते चैतन्य चरितामृत मध्य 6th chapter 154th verse. Yes, Prabhu, read the translation.
Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as Para, superior, and Apara, inferior. The living entities belong to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and includes them and induces them to perform fruitive activities. Yet there is another part of the Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material inferior energy and the living entities. The superior energy constitutes the eternal deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita.
परासस्मात्तु भाव्यन्यो व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् अव्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः या सर्वेषु भूतेषु न सत्सु न विनश्यति.
All the material planets, upper, lower, intermediate, including the sun, moon, Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. The planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. The upper planets, the time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours and or one day and night on many of the upper planets. The 4 ages of the earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1000 constitutes one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. Such day and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universal manifestation is vanquished.
Yes, we see that pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Krishna is in Dwarka, and our four-headed Brahma comes and knocks And the Jai Vijay, the gatekeeper, they ask, which Brahma? Brahma from which universe? And then Lord allows him, they allow him to go inside. Then Lord simultaneously calls all the Brahmas 4 into 4, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. So many dimensions, Brahmas, they come and they're offering simultaneously their helmets with their golden helmets, they're offering dandavats to Lord Krishna. Brahma is seeing them, and our universe Brahma appears like a very, very small person in front of them. And then he's like bewildered by seeing that. So that is the thing. So Brahma lives for a very, very long time, and Brahma is also there. Our Brahma is four-headed Brahma is the smallest of all the Brahmas. So you can imagine other Brahmas, what can be their opulences. So the first part Prabhupada is discussing on Vinashanam, 6 transformations at our level, if we are trying to investigate grossly. Then the second aspect Prabhupada is trying to speak is death. Somebody tries to understand about Vedas, they want to go to the heavenly planets, or they want to go to Yoga Siddhi, they want to go to Maharloka. For them, Prabhupada is telling, even Brahma is also mortal. He may live for a long time. So that is the ignorance of eternity of the spiritual world is mentioned there. And the third thing Prabhupada is trying to tell is that one should try to go from Tamasoma. Even this whole planet, Brahma Bhuvana Loka, from our planet is the planet of Brahma. This is a place called very dark. And therefore, our aim should be to go from this world, Ek Pada Vibhuti, that is 1/4 material world, to the 3/4 spiritual world. That is what the connecting link is. This world is only a small portion. Brahma, who is the main in charge, he is also very, very, although it appears to be like staying for a very, very long time, from Mahavishnu's point of view, Brahma's lifespan is only breathe. Mahavishnu breathes outside the pores, the whole Brahmandas come, and after Mahavishnu takes inside, the whole Brahmandas go inside. So Brahma's lifespan, if you see from the point of view of Mahavishnu, it is only a breath of Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So that is called as Tripada Vibhuti. So the Tripada Vibhuti starts from where? It starts from Viraja, beyond Mahavishnu. Therefore, the intelligent should try to they shift their attention not from this trying to meddle with Vinashanam scientifically, or others who want to go by demigod worship, or they want to achieve by Yoga Siddhi to go to the level of Maharloka, Brahma Loka. They are also told that is not a solution. Solution is eternity. Real eternity is in the spiritual world. That is Ek Pada Vibhuti and Tripada Vibhuti. Yes.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
can I ask you something, Prabhuji? Prabhuji, in the Vaman Leela, God takes 2 steps and he covers 2 worlds. What are those 2 worlds that he covers?
That is Patala, the bottom of the Brahmanda, and Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka also?
Yes.
Brahmaloka where Brahmaji lives?
Yes. The top portion, there are 14 planet system. The topmost is Brahmaloka, the bottommost is the Patala, and below that there is Ananta Shesha on whose hoods the whole 14 planet systems are lying, and below that portion is hellish planets, and below that is a causal ocean where Garbhodaksha Vishnu is sleeping. So the place, the last tip is Patala. So Vaman Dev kept his first feet there, and then he expanded as Upendra. Yes, Patala. And the second feet, he pierced the top portion of the universe. Viraja came out and washed his feet and came as Mandakini Ganga. So the lowest most portion, the 14th and the first. So that's it. In 2 feet, he covered the whole universe, Brahmanda. And then Bali Maharaj gave him the third step. He's on his head. Himself he gave Atmanivedana. Yes, someone can read this. Ekapada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sanjay.
Yes, Sanjay Prabhu, please read.
Dandarpana Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Ekpad Vibhuti and Tripad Vibhuti. Those living beings who reside on higher planets like the sun and the moon, as well as those on Martyaloka, this earth planet, and also those who live on lower planets, all are merged into the waters of devastation during the night of Brahma. During this time, no living beings or species remain manifest, although spiritually they continue to exist. This unmanifested stage is called Avaktya. Again, when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is another Avyakta state. But beyond these two unmanifested states is another unmanifested state, the spiritual atmosphere or nature. There are a great number of spiritual planets in this atmosphere, and these planets exist eternally, even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished at the end of Brahma's life. There are many material universes, each under the jurisdiction of Brahma, and this cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of the various Brahmas is but a display of 1/4 of the energy of the Lord, Ekpad Vibhuti. This is the inferior energy. Beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is the spiritual energy, which is called Tripad Vibhuti. Three-fourths of the Lord's energy. This is the superior energy or Para Prakriti. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So Prabhupada is trying to speak about the Avyakta state here. One Avyakta state is materially inactive, spiritually inactive. That is at the every end of the day of Brahma, all living entities till Maharloka, the water fills up. And everybody is mixed with the causal water of Pralaya. That is inactive stage. Materially inactive, spiritual also inactive. That is one definition of Avyakta in this paragraph. The second definition of Avyakta, which is mentioning in this Bhagavata 8.20, is where material is inactive but spiritually active. That is the spiritual world. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell here. That when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is another Avyakta state, that is spiritual world. Because Lord Brahmaji, along the Brahmanda, goes into Mahavishnu's 4 again back. And what is remaining? Only spiritual world remaining. And then at the end of every night of Brahma, the living entities still Maharloka, they are inactive, but they are spiritually also inactive. So two kinds of Avyakta states Prabhupada is trying to mention here, but the goal should be to go from Ekapada Vibhuti, that is from this material world, to the spiritual world, which is Tripada Vibhuti, which has all the varieties. So this is the first half. 4 things are covered: 6 transformations, and then Brahmaloka to Indra, Gopa to Brahma. Everybody is mortal. Therefore, we should try to go from this dark material world to spiritual world. That is Ekapada Vibhuti, Tripada Vibhuti. That is covered in immortality is not possible materially. Science is trying to give a post-dated check. And even those people who go to Vedas, trying to worship demigods, trying to do Ashtanga Yoga, without Krishna, they will be caught up here in the material world itself. So what one should do? One has to, even if one goes to spirituality, one goes to Vedas, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. So one has to directly Akama, Sarvakama, Mokshakama, Udaradi. Guru Maharaj had lot of material desire, but still he went to Lord. So Suniti is telling there in the Mother Suniti is telling to Dhruv Maharaj in the whole first 4th chapter, 4th canto, 8th chapter, starting from verses 30 to 40, 45, 46. If you at all you want a kingdom greater than your great grandfather, you have to worship Vishnu, and only Vishnu can give, because all the demigods are in the material world. So Brahma is also demigod. By worshipping him, he can't give a kingdom greater than himself. Therefore, demigods cannot give anything. If you want anything, even if you want a big material desire, you have to approach Vishnu. What will happen? He'll purify, and at the end of the day, you will become a pure devotee. And that is what Dhruv Maharaj's example, Prahlad Maharaj's example. Immortality is possible only by worshipping Lord Krishna. Even if one is avidya, even if one is so-called vidya, they have to come to the point of worshipping Krishna. Then only by the favor of Bhakti Devi, they can attain Krishna's lotus feet very easily. Yes. The next part, immortality is possible only by worshipping Lord Krishna. And the first point Prabhupada highlights is one can attain Lord's favor easily by Bhakti. In Veda also there is Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, there is Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. But Bhakti, many of the prayers of Bhagavatam, you see, devotees praying, Lord is not so easily attained by anyone. It's not very easy for for the practitioner of a yoga to attain Lord. So that is mentioning not to devotees, that is mentioning to Astanga, that is mentioning to Jnana, that is mentioning to Karma. So Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. That 3 times Nasteva refers to not by Karma, not by Jnana, not by Yoga. So same thing Prabhupada highlights here, that Jnana, philosophy, Yoga, mysticism, Karma, fruitive activities. But by Bhakti, one can easily please the Lord. Therefore, wherever in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita that I am very difficult to attend, that is referring to those transcendentalists who are impersonal, or they have motives, or they want to, they are on any platform, or they are having fruitive results in the end. But somebody approaches Lord directly, even if he has material desire, Lord can be easily attained. Dhruv Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a small boy. In the womb he heard, he could easily attend Lord. So bhakti is very easy. So this thing we have to try to, whenever we try to cultivate people, when we try to do the outreach program or we try to preach, we have preaching programs. What we have to, most of the Indians, they have this understanding that it's not easy to understand Lord. That is not easy means what? Is not easy to be understood by karma, jnana, ashtanga. But by bhakti, he is easily understood. And in this one lifetime, a person can understand Lord by the mercy of the Lord, by the grace of the Lord, and go back to Godhead. This is the thin bridge one has to cross people from faithlessness to faithfulness. What is that? By bhakti, you can easily attain Lord. Even in one lifetime, one can practice bhakti and perfect his life and go back to God. This kind of faith one has to reinstill, and that is what Prabhupada always does. Immortality is possible only by worshipping Lord Krishna, and one can attain Lord's favor easily by bhakti. That is what Prabhupada says. If you see all his, wherever he speak, bhakti comes, he will try to speak about no demigod worship. He will try to speak about no speculation. He will try to speak about no mystic practices. But that means there is so much of elaborate endeavor in doing karma kanda. So much of money has to be given for all the samagris, for dravya, for the pandit, for the priest, for a adgota, for a hotra, for the person who is reciting the mantra. 4 kinds of priests are required for it. Bhagavatam mentions about it. So much of money has to be spent for jnana. Then one has to be celibate. That means only those are celibate practitioners, not grasthas, only who are sannyasis, they can enter jnana. Ashtanga, that is a preliminary thing. That means how? Then how can one can attain Lord? Therefore, people of India have thought that attaining Lord is become very difficult because there is so much of rigid discipline for that. But even if they can't attempt it, but even those who attempt, they are not successful because it's very difficult. But path of bhakti, as enunciated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is very, very easy. That is what Prabhupada is trying to present it to the world, to this purpose of Ishopanishad. If someone can read this paragraph.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Prabhuji, somebody is worshipping Krishna by knowing just a God, not like a spiritual master or a supreme Lord. Then what that worship will be called?
Like example is given of in 7th canto of Bhagavatam. In the first chapter of Bhagavatam, 7th canto, first chapter, different personalities approach Krishna. Gopis approach Krishna out of lusty feelings. Kamat, Veshat, Sushupal approached, or Shishupala Kamsa approached Krishna out of Vesha or Irsha. So they didn't know the personality of Krishna, but they approached Krishna with different feelings of emotion. But everybody gets purified. It's a very nice shloka. Kamat, Gopya Kamat, Bhayat Kamsa, Dveshat Chaitya, Nrapa. So all approach Krishna without knowing his true position. But because Krishna is Krishna, like sun is sun, whether somebody accepts sun or not, sun is going to rise and sun is going to give light to the whole world. It's going to give nourishment to the plants. It is going to evaporate water and trying to descend water to all over the places through rains. Whether somebody accepts it or doesn't accept it. So similarly, but somebody goes and stands in sunshine, he gets vitamin D. Whether he has faith in sun or has no faith in sun, he may not understand the sign of sun. He may not understand the signs of how that vitamin D has been generated. Similarly, somebody comes in touch with Krishna Knowingly, unknowingly, they will get purified. But what differentiates between pure devotee and sadharan devotees? Pure devotee is conscious. Therefore, Prabhupada made this movement as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So Krishna is there, his position is there. To the degree we are conscious, to that degree we will remember him. And to that degree we will get purified and we will get benefited.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Arvind, please continue reading.
Prabhuji, actually, I have also one question.
Hmm.
When you said immortality, it means that reaching the feet of Lord Sri Krishna is immortality, right, Prabhuji?
What you feel? You tell your feeling. What you
No,
feel?
actually, I got little confused because we just now, actually, few minutes before, we were discussing materially inactive, spiritually active. So as a soul, we were always active and we were always living. There is no mortality for the soul. So in that
Yes.
case, why we are talking about immortality again differently? I did not understand, Prabhuji. Because soul is always active and soul is always immortal. So
Yeah.
why we are telling that immortality can be achieved only with the bhakti towards Krishna?
Now tell me, body is dead, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Soul is always alive.
Soul is always alive. Yes.
Soul is eternal.
Mm.
And body is dead.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Then who is suffering?
Soul is suffering.
You only told soul is eternal. You only told the immortality. Why speaking of immortality?
Yes, soul is suffering, but it is eternal, right, Prabhuji?
So therefore, so you only spoke that soul is immortal. Then why you are speaking about immortality here?
Yes, that's exactly my question, Prabhuji. Because
you only told the answer. Soul is suffering. Although it is immortal, soul is suffering because of entanglement with matter.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Body is dead. Soul is eternal, always happy. But the misidentification of the soul with the body makes it suffers. And
So
the
here
liberated
immortality.
souls, so liberated soul, like Sridhar Maharaj is telling, he has got a big tummy before leaving the body. Whole water is filled inside the whole lung area, the intestine. But he is telling pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So all our souls, soul is eternal, but very few are liberated souls. But majority are, they have their desires to enjoy matter. And they are misidentifying with the matter. And that is what they are haunted by the ghost of enjoyment. Because of that, they are entangled in karma bandhan.
Okay, so we
And
are mortal.
immortality, yeah, yes. Please conclude. Yes, what is your conclusion?
So we are mortal as long as the soul is getting attached to the material body or getting involved, associated with the material body. Otherwise, once we understand, okay, this soul should actually go back to the spiritual world, then that means that immortality.
So that is the meaning of vinashanam. So that aspect of rewinding is vinashanam, and the aspect of establishing our connection with Krishna is sambhuta.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will read that, Prabhuji. So one can attain Lord's favor easily by bhakti. The predominating supreme person residing within the spiritual nature is Lord Sri Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, shloka 22, he can be approached only by unalloyed devotional service and not by the process of jnana, philosophy, yoga, mysticism, or karma, fruitive work. The karmis or fruitive workers can elevate themselves to the Swargaloka planets, which include the sun and the moon. Jnanis and yogis can attain still higher planets such as Maharloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka. And when they become still more qualified through devotional service, they can enter into the spiritual nature, either the illuminating cosmic atmosphere, the spiritual sky Brahman, or the Vaikuntha planets, according to their qualification. It is certain, however, that no one can enter into the spiritual Vaikuntha planets without being trained in the devotional service.
Actually, in the Vedic time, it was very, very clear. The karma is most of the grahasthas they used to do karma kanda yagyas. And very, very few sannyasis, yatis used to go for jnana or yoga. But in Kali Yuga, it's like it's a intermesh of karma, jnana, yoga. It's like they have taken some vegetables of karma, some vegetables of jnana, some vegetables of yoga, and they have put a tadka of self-styled guru is giving a choke and making his own innovation. Therefore, the whole crowd is getting confused what actually is spirituality. So when somebody comes and speaks about spirituality in a way nobody understands, then he becomes very, very famous. Because ultimately nobody is going anywhere. But bhakti is so simple, but for that one needs Sukruti, Bhakti and Mukha Sukruti to understand that. By approaching Krishna directly, one can easily get entry into the Vaikuntha planets. So bhakti is so simple, but simple for simple. And why people are not able to understand bhakti? Because they have this lording over tendency, material disease. They want to lord it over the material nature. Therefore, one should give it up and align with the Lord's instruction and plan to become immortal. So why they can't accept bhakti is so simple? Why they can't accept bhakti? Majority of the people, when you try to go and approach them, take Bhagavad Gita, come for Satsang, come for Janmashtami program, because they want to lord it over. They want to enjoy. They are entangled with the karma bandhan. They want to enjoy with misidentification of the matter. Vinashanam. They're thinking, okay, they will try to become immortal by trying to meddle with Vinashanam, either through karma, jnana, yoga, through science. That is the reason they can't. Yes, Prabhu. Someone, Prabhuji,
I will continue, Prabhuji. So, lording over is the material disease. One should give it up and align with the Lord's plan to become immortal. On the material planets, everyone from Brahma down to the ant is trying to lord it over material nature. And this is the material disease. As long as this material disease continues, the living entity has to undergo the process of bodily changes. Whether he takes the form of a man, demigod, or animal, he ultimately has to endure an unmanifested condition during the two devastations. The devastation during the night of Brahma and the devastation at the end of Brahma's life. Prabhuji, can you please scroll up? End of Brahma's life. If we want to put an end to this process of repeated birth and death, as well as the concomitant factors of old age and disease, we must try to enter the spiritual planets, where we can live eternally in the association of Lord Krishna or his planetary expansions. His Narayana forms. Lord Krishna or his planetary expansions dominate every one of these innumerable planets, a fact confirmed in the Shruti mantras. Eko Vasi Sarvaka Krishna Idaya Eko Api San Bahuda Yo Vabati. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.21. No one can, Prabhuji, one line. The predominant, I think, Prabhuji, no one can dominate Krishna. It is a conditioned soul who tries to dominate material nature and is instead subjected to the laws of material nature and the sufferings of repeated birth and death. The Lord comes here to re-establish the principles of religion, and the basic principle is the development of an attitude of surrender to Him. This is Lord's last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, sloka 66. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. Give up all other processes and just surrender unto me alone. Unfortunately, foolish men have misinterpreted the prime teaching and misled the masses of people in diverse ways. People have been urged to open hospitals but not to educate themselves to enter into the spiritual kingdom by devotional service. They have been taught to take interest only in temporary relief work, which can never bring real happiness to the living entity. They start varieties of public and semi-governmental institutions to tackle the devastating power of nature, but they don't know how to pacify insurmountable nature. Many men are advertised as great scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, but they overlook the Gita's message by which material nature can be pacified. Powerful nature can be pacified only by the awakening of God consciousness, as clearly pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, sloka 14.
So Prabhupada is very, very powerfully speaking about, Vinashanam. They want to become immortal, therefore they open hospitals. But opening hospitals can, okay, if it is there in Prarabdha Karma, it can help you to stay for some years. But actually, if one has to become immortal, one has to take up to spiritual practice. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell here. Therefore, one has to take shelter of the Lord. By stopgap solutions or temporary relief works, one cannot tackle the devastating power of nature. The two types of pralayas, the day of end of the night of Brahma and at the end of Brahma's life, Atyantika pralaya. And that is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. One has to endure it, then one has to practice spirituality. And that spiritual practice consists of understanding the temporary material nature and think or incompatibility with matter, and understanding and getting mesmerized by the spiritual world, and understanding that we were there, but the happiness which we are trying to search is because of the vacuum of not being present in the spiritual world. Therefore, we should try to gain that knowledge. And how to gain that knowledge? To Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And through that knowledge, balance of both, one can become immortal. So Prabhupada concludes the whole thing here. One has to understand depth. One has to, not by opening hospitals one can overcome it, but one has to practice spirituality wholeheartedly, not by dharma, not by artha, not by kama, but one has to practice bhakti fully. If someone can read this one, last paragraph.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Balance of both Sambhuti and Vinash. In this mantra, Sri Ishopanishad teaches us one must perfectly know both Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and the Vinasha, the temporary material manifestation. Side by side, by knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved, for in the course of nature, this is devastation at every moment. Ahanya ahani bhutani kachinta yamalayam. Nor can one be saved from these devastations by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved only by complete knowledge of the eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate men in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification. But service rendered to the sense object is both misleading and degrading. We must therefore save ourselves and our fellow men in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise for this. This is matter of necessity. Hare Krishna.
So very important line here is Prabhupada is writing, people are often misguided by the temporary attractive things based on sense gratification. But the service rendered to the sense objects is both misleading. Whether they want to altruism, socialism, patriotism, anything, it's misleading, it is degrading. Degrading in the sense the soul is eternal, but supposed to not accept a material body. Asu kleshada asadeha. Nunam pramatte kurute vikarma yad indriya priti apnoloti. So na sadhu manye. So it should not have accepted a material body, but it is accepting a material body because of that attachment for that kind of service, which is devoid of Krishna. Therefore, there can be no compromise for this, is a matter of necessity. It's like whenever we board flight, people first thing they say, the air hostess or the instruction comes, if there is something, there is, the oxygen level is going down in the cabin, crew immediately pull out a mask and first put to yourself and then think of your child or your neighbor or your relative. Similarly, people want to serve, people want to do so much of activity, social activity, altruistic activity, but they are not understanding that they are themselves drowning, and at the cost of their drowning, they are trying to help others. So they are trying to create a full network of karmic bondage. So how they can come out of it? So only by their own free will, when they understand Krishna's grace, or they get a bona fide spiritual master, they can come out of it. So therefore, Ishopanishad is giving a call. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedobhayam sa sambhutim cha vinashanam cha mrityum tirtva sambhutim amritam ashrute. So one has to develop this knowledge about Krishna. So Prabhupada is giving a heavy message for opening hospitals. By opening hospitals, we can't become Amar. So this is by if you want to become Amar, one has to become eternal. Eternality can be done not by the material endeavor, not by Vinashanam, but by practicing Bhakti. Hare Krishna. So we have concluded mantra 14. We'll go to mantra 15.
I have a question, Prabhuji. This is, you must therefore save ourselves. We must therefore save ourselves and our fellow men in the right way. So don't you think people who are full of desires and don't understand this aspect of Sambhuti and Vinasha, it is very difficult to make them understand, because they are born with a lot of desires. Till they exhaust all their desires, they will not understand all this. I mean, I have friends before I came to Krishna consciousness, and I'm not friends with them anymore. And it is very difficult for me to make them understand that, what they are still doing is they're still doing the same thing again and again and again. And looking at me also, they don't learn, and it's very difficult to make them understand. Don't you think it's not easy to preach everybody? It's only to those people who have seen it and done it all and are looking for something beyond this.
Yes, there is a story in this sense. Two gentlemen were sitting under a tree, and suddenly a mango fell. And when mango was falling down, a crow came and sat on that branch. So they started arguing. A mango was ripened, therefore it fell. Another person was telling, no, the crow came and sat on the mango tree, therefore it fell. So how we become devotees? We become devotees because our Sukriti pot is being filled janam after janam. Bahunam janmanam ante. Little Bhakti Mukha Sukruti, little Bhakti Mukha Sukruti. Like we are speaking about those people who are not taking up now. Like that, some people, some other devotees have thought about us in some lifetimes. They have thought about us, they have prayed for us. So, two kinds of things here. What we call as devotee, 16 rounder, full-fledged, serious devotee of ISKCON. He is becoming devotee, is practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. He is, according to Nectar of Devotion, he is categorized under Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakta. And others are also trying to come. Krishna says, Bhagavatam says, Sukadeva Goswami says, Akama, Sarva Kama, Moksha Kama, Udaradi. Somebody wants moksha, come to Krishna. Somebody is having no kama, bhakti, want to go back to God, come to Krishna. Somebody has sarva kama, please come to Krishna. So what I see after reading Bhagavatam, after reading Prabhupada purports, we should tell people just worship Krishna. If somebody has desire, okay, you have this desire will get fulfilled. Worship Krishna. If they have Sukriti like Dhruva, they will worship. Like Chatush Kumaras, they are going to Vishnu. They thought something is impersonal. Sukadeva Goswami, he was impersonal. But when he heard about Krishna, he became a devotee. So, thing is, there are different strokes for different folks. So there are some people who are on the Karma platform, some people on the Jnana platform, some people on the Ashtanga platform, some people on the Bhakti platform. So that crow coming and sitting and that mango falling, that is referring to we preach someone and they become devotee. It's like those who are in Bhakti platform from past life, we just touched them. Or we just became a medium for them to show them ISKCON. And immediately they're picking. So in that case, we go and touch so many people. Why not all people become devotees? Because all fingers are not same. Somebody had a kill of karma kanda, somebody is Nastik, somebody is Jnana, somebody is Ashtanga, somebody is... So they're different people. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, when we become mature enough, we understand this concept. That 1600 devotee is not a only devotee. Practically speaking, from the organizational point of view, from Diksha point of view, from central location point of view, from the ISKCON India Divisional Council, WIDC, NIDC, EIDC, SIDC, those factors are there. But from Krishna's point of view, Krishna is Udara. He is telling Arto Artharthi Jitnyasu Jnani. Anybody who comes to me out of suffering, out of desire, out of knowledge, out of inquisitiveness, they are Sukrutis. So when Krishna is rendering them as Sukrutis, so we should try to follow Krishna's footsteps and we should try to old friends, new friends. Surely they'll be enjoying material life very nicely. But as devotees, what we should try to do is everybody likes eating. Everybody likes festival. But people may not like philosophy, people may not like chanting. So we should try to see from people's perspective, what is that they like in Krishna? And we should try to give it to them. And when you go and hand over prasad, Rasgulla prasad to them, they may not see. If we expect them to come to 16 rounds, but they are the law of karma, it is impossible. It's not impossible. If Krishna wants, that can be possible. but we should try to elevate them from the karma level to, if the bhakti is added to it, within this life or within next life, they can come to bhakti platform. So by giving prasad, by giving whatever love and care or affection, or just by being a good friend, if by our being a good friend with them is polluting our consciousness, then okay, whenever we go, just hand over some prasad or send some prasad to them and they appreciate it. And even if they tell, oh, amazing, such a nice, itna acha laddu aapne bheja hai, they may not understand it's prasad, but they tell nice, they have started bhakti.
I do that, Prabhuji, but when they're suffering, I try to tell them why they are not aligned. So, but still they don't get it.
No, they will not get it. Why? Because somebody that level of karma, he will suffer, but he will think that, I have not tried at this angle. I should have jumped from 180-degree angle. I have jumped from 178-degree. 2 degrees less I have jumped. So let me try from this angle. So that is our karma person who's at level of karma kanda or a karma yogi. It doesn't sink in his head. What sinks in his head is food, sense objects. Sort of all the sense objects, Krishna's Mahaprasad is amazing. Therefore, ISKCON is famous for what all over the world, all over India. ISKCON is famous for what? For its khichdi, Annamrit, food for life khichdi. People say one thing ISKCON is doing very good. We don't know about what spirituality, we don't know about Krishna, we don't know about temples, we don't know anything. One good thing about doing social service of distributing free khichdi in all the schools and other places. So there are people who are at the level of karma. So when you go to them, that is the meaning of different strokes for different folks. So now, one thing we should try to understand out of the four kind of people, Artho, Artharthi, Jitnyasu, Jnani, where he is. Ar, Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga, Yoga, Bhakti, where he is. If you approach Bhaktas, you speak that spirituality. If you go to a yogi, you tell very nice, appreciate him. And if you go to Jnani, then accordingly we have to give that kind of treatment to them. If you go to a person who's a karmi or a karma kind of person, then you have to give that thing which he likes. There is what is in it for them. So if we approach in that way, what happens is we can elevate them, they'll be connected, and slowly the Sukriti builds up. And another thing, they will not tell, Array, this is con people are so fanatic, don't get involved, this and that. Anyway, they'll tell always, but from our side, we open our doors, but we don't mix with them intimately. But we know we are going only to give them the way they need. They'll not understand it. We will also not understand. It takes a lot of grace of Guru and Prabhupada to understand it. But somehow, by the grace of Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj and all the Acharyas, we are trying to understand these concepts.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. The same direction, Prabhuji, what Mataji has asked, I have a similar question. So actually what happened, Prabhuji, this Saturday, we were actually in the Satsang, right? I mean, our Chetan Charan Prabhu was there. So what happened, all my college friends, they were all gathering. I mean, all over the world, whoever was there, other countries, they were all coming to Hyderabad. So they all gathered there and they were calling me. So I just mentioned I was in Satsang. So what happened, their friends there, they also wrote me back, Tarinder, we are also in a Satsang. We are all very good friends to you. Just come over here. See, they don't want to make me feel bad. They are trying to make me understand that, okay, we are all good friends. So it's also Satsang. But I got really very angry, Prabhuji, when they used that word Satsang. We are also Satsang. I don't know. I just kept quiet. I don't want to react at that point of time. But I was thinking, did I really do a correct thing by not really reacting to it? Or should I have given them really very strongly that this is not a correct word to use?
No. Generally, what we can do is, if you are a brahmacharya or a sannyasi, the stand is different. But if you are a grahastha, different counselors have different inputs. But what I have seen, who are like grahasthas and who are in a profession of medical, who are a profession of CA, where the network is very important. They have to maintain a good relationship. Or even from preaching point of view, what we can do, satsang is happening fine. We have to prioritize satsang. And when all of them are telling that we are also good friends, satsang, this is also satsang. They mean to tell that they are not spiritual, but they want to give a message that we are also good people and we also need, you don't deny us. The thing is, what they're trying to point out is, don't give us up in the name of that we are bad people.
Yes, Prabhuji, that was indirectly a message to me.
Message for them. Basically, what they want is, they want some time with their friend. And I don't think it is something a big demand. So what we can do always is, we can just go meet them, tell them, I have a very important meeting, but despite the very important meeting, I'll just come. I can be here for 15 minutes, half an hour, and just in that 15 minutes be there, and then quickly come and continue the whole thing. Because it's like these things happen very, very rare. It's not that they're going to come every year or every for 2 years or 3 years. So
it was very far for me, Prabhuji. That's the reason. I mean, anyway, I didn't have that interest also. Frankly speaking, especially after reading that Nectar of Instruction, it was very clear to be away from people who are not really into Krishna consciousness. So that association, somehow I'm not liking it. So that was also another reason that, I wanted to avoid going there.
there is a phase when we go through Krishna consciousness. First, we are ardent demigod worshippers. When people say only Krishna, 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 I think, why? What is so much about Krishna? Then we become fanatic Krishna worshippers. Then we start, denying all demigods, like people who worship them, demigods themselves, as if they are like. And then over a period of time, we understand, okay, they are Narayana Angaja. They are the limbs of Lord Narayana, and by worshipping them, those who are not devotees, they can elevate and they can become pure. So similarly, when it comes to association, first we are in the same association, then we start shaming that association. We don't want that association because we may get disturbed. Over a period of time, understand it's not people who can bother us, it's our own mind. So then we understand, okay, no issue, they are also humans, so let us give them a human treatment, but also we should not get contaminated by their association. Okay, so you are good. You have done a good thing by not becoming angry on them.
Because at that point of time, I got really angry, Prabhuji. But since I was in that satsang, I was listening to the lecture.
That is their response is normal, and your response is also normal according to our stage, because they are expecting you to be there. Even if you don't be there, it's like, even if you have to tell truth, you have to tell it very sweetly.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Or Prabhuji, so in this case, is it, I'm just kind of the second thought or the second option, which I do normally, is say, okay, I'm not available at this point in time, we can meet later, rather than telling that I'm in a satsang, because we know that other people would make fun or would do something, and we will get unnecessarily irritated, right?
Yeah,
so is it okay that we say, okay, we can meet later on, I'm busy somewhere, or with family commitment or something like that?
Yes, actually, whenever we deal with materialist, we don't have to give details.
Yeah, right.
So Bhakti Thakur writes it that Sajjana Toshani, he makes it a point that we don't have to go, basically we don't have to associate with them much heart to heart. Just professionally we can associate with them without giving our heart, like a monkey, monkey and crocodile story.
Right.
Monkey told the heart is in the tree itself.
Yeah.
So that is how we have to associate. We may physically it went on its back, but the heart was on the tree. Similarly, we may go and sit with them, interact with them. That is not association. Just going to a place, meeting them, hi, bye, okay, fine. That is not association.
No, but what I'm saying is telling that I'm in a satsang, rather than telling that I'm in a satsang, tell that I am busy with the family or something like that, and we can meet later.
Yeah. That is also intelligence.
Yeah, okay.
That is also intelligence. You can always tell like that. We don't have to tell them about the spiritual practices.
Yeah, right. Because unless until others are not at that platform, telling them a satsang, they will anyway will make fun or comment something like that.
Yeah. These people, they were telling that, Are satsang, we are also good people.
No, that was sarcastic, right? That was sarcastic. So and it hurts at times.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, we do not give any reason for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thanks.
That is best.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
In my case, Saturday, my relatives came to meet me, Prabhuji. I was in Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji's class. And Sunday morning they came. I went to BHL Pavan Prabhuji's class. And evening they came. I went to Leelanand Prabhuji's class. And they made a call. And they told me, whenever we are coming, we are not able to meet you. Where are you going? Then I said, now I came to know the real happiness in my life. I am going to the satsang. If anybody wants to come, you also join with me. I said that, Prabhuji.
And what was the response?
Nothing, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. Actually, generally, when we do these programs, because all of you are married, settled, your dependency on your relatives is not much. But when we do programs for youths,
No, basically lost interest in that kind of discussions, Prabhuji.
yeah.
And within the short span of time, when they are discussing such things, these people, when do, of course, I'm just a small, tiny part in Krishna consciousness. But even though I'm feeling, unnecessarily, they are wasting their time. I'm feeling like that. If I say that, they won't accept, I know it, but I'm telling to my community people that please come to the Radha Yatra. In that way, I'm telling. I'm not telling anything. I told them, even I too used to enjoy like you people, but I came to know that Krishna is the, who is giving the ultimate happiness to us. And I asked them to come to the Radha Yatra. Because when we are staying in one community, we have to maintain some relationship, Prabhuji, because alone we can't do anything. Together we can do many things in Krishnastami. If I want to do Krishnastami in my community, I need many people, right, Prabhuji? So I'm communicating in that way.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Everything before I used to speak everything very frank and very, but after coming to the Krishna consciousness, Krishna gave me some, he's Chatura, I can say. I'm not telling what is there in my mind, just controlling. He gave the control of my mind.
Yes. We have a session for our youths when we do youth programs. Parents, friends, relatives dealing. How to deal with parents, how to deal with friends, how to deal with relatives, how to tell a sweet no, but a sweet way, with not the reason of bhakti. Don't put bhakti as a reason. So that kind of sessions are important to communicate with professional friends and everybody around. Because then they will not understand, okay, this person is behaving this way because of this practice. So they will not point practice of bhakti as a cause for behaving in a particular way. Because everybody goes through that phase when they come from a material background into spiritual background. Initially, nectar of instruction recommendation is not only initially, throughout Satsanga, Chadi, Vaishnava Achar. That has to be done. But over a period of time, we have to communicate in a very, very positive way, in the way they can understand. That means you are in a very, very important task, and you know it better because you know them better. So you can communicate to them in the way they can know it better, that you are in a very important task without telling. That is bhakti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please take that session also once for us. Just the face.
Yes, Prabhu, I was also thinking.
This is very important, Prabhuji. Because now, initially our family used to be 50 big members. Now people stop coming to our houses because we don't feed them unnecessary things. So, and we are like, neither they are inviting us, nor they are coming to our house. The situation is like that. Big family has become now a nuclear family for us.
Actually, we have to practice bhakti, but we have to apply the principle. Basically, principle is very simple. Principally, we have to apply the principles in our practice. But people who are around us, they can't potentially damage us till the time we want to get damaged. So basically, we have to respect them at their level. Okay, and Leelan Prabhu is very expert at it. His Grace Leelan Prabhu is a very expert personality in dealing with friends, parents, relatives. So he can take a very, very nice session for all of you regarding it. But the whole content is we should deal with people without hurting them. That is the whole thing. At the same time, our Krishna consciousness should also not be compromised. Okay, these are the two themes in that whole session. So going ahead with the session, mantra 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukam tatvam poshana pavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukam tatvam poshana pavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukam tatvam poshana pavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. Yes, any three devotees can recite this one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I will give it a try. Okay. Hiranyamayena patrena satyasyapi tam mukham tatvam poshanam apavarno satya dharmasya drishtaye.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hiranyamaena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvatvam posanam aparnu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushanna pavano satya dharmaya drishtaye. Hare Krishna.
Two word meaning. Hiranmayena patrena, a vessel of dazzling effulgence. Hiranmayena, by golden effulgence. Patrena, by dazzling covering, are a vessel. Satyasya, the Lord who is Satya, the supreme truth. Satyam param dhimahi, Bhagavatam 1st 1:1:1. And apihitam, covered, mukam, the face, tat, that covering, tvam, yourself, poshan, O sustainer, apavruno, kindly remove, satya, pure, dharmaya, unto the devotee, drishtaye, for exhibiting. So, translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, translation goes as it is, as this: O my Lord, sustainer of all that life, all that lives, all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So, based on the commentaries of the Acharyas, we can understand Hiranmayena is the effulgence, Patrena is a vessel. The vessel of golden effulgence is in front of a Satya. Who is that Satya? Satya is Satya Murti. That is absolute truth. That is Lord Vishnu or Hari. So, Hari is called as Satya. And apihitam, his face is covered, mukam is covered by Hiranmayena patra, apihitam. Tatvam pushan apavruno, you are the nourisher. Pushan is through the Paramatma feature. Karunadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu is maintaining all living entities. Tatvam pushan apavruno, kindly remove. Apavruno is kindly remove. Satya dharmaye, Satya dharmaye means Satya is Lord Vishnu, and who follows Lord Vishnu's dharma is devotee. So Satya dharma is Vishnu's devotee or bhakta, drishtaye. So it's telling, O Lord Vishnu, kindly remove the golden effulgence from your face. You're nourishing me. Kindly remove this curtain by which me, who is your devotee, following your dharma, your face becomes manifest. It's like Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatumi, something like that. So Prabhupada takes this thing here. The whole theme, the theme is Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman. And the underlying factor of the whole shloka is Prabhupada is going to again and again trying to combat, debate the Purva Paksha that Brahma, Satyam, Jagat Mityam. He is going to refute that, telling Paramatma and Bhagavan and Brahman. The Brahman and Paramatma, the origin of both of them, the root of Brahman and root of Paramatma is Bhagavan. So this is what Prabhupada is going to establish in the whole purport. He is going to speak of Krishna as the source of Brahman and Paramatma. Then he will take aspect of Pushan. Then he will tell Karunadaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu. They are taking care of the material world. They are nourishing everything. And he will quote from Brahma Samhita and tell that this whatever effulgence you are seeing, this is just simply the effulgence of coming from Krishna's body, throughout which all the planets are there. And then he will come to the conclusion, but Krishna is the source of Brahman, Krishna is the source of Paramatma. So we'll continue the discussion now. So Krishna is the source of Brahman and Paramatma. Someone can read this one?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will read. So Lord Sri Krishna is the source of Brahman and Paramatma. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, shloka 27, the Lord explains his personal race, Brahma Jyoti, the dazzling effulgence of his personal form in this way. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrutasya vasyasya cha sasvatasya sa dharmasya stukasyai khantikasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the super soul, is realized by those who have further progressed, and the Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, shloka 7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mata Parataram Nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of the Brahma Jyoti as well as the all-pervading Paramatma.
So, Prabhupada is explaining about this very important point for your open book from the Ishopanishad purports, references, transcriptions. Try to prove the absolute truth is a person, is not in person. Very nice verse from Ishopanishad. To quote the whole verse, the translation, and also you can quote from this Bhagavad Gita, this shloka, Brahmano hi Pratishtanam, I am the source of Brahman, and you can quote Krishna as the source of Brahma Jyoti as well as Paramatma. Therefore, the absolute truth is a person, he is not impersonal. Very, very important point. This has to be there. This quotation mantra 15 has to come if you want marks. Otherwise, you may not get any marks. So Prabhupada is going to elaborate more on Pushan. The third line, Pushan. Pushan is a maintainer. What is Pushan? Lord doesn't have to come personally as Krishna. To maintain, he expands himself as Karanadaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Basically, Ekam Sena Sito Jagat. This is Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan. So when Bhagavan Krishna doesn't come, he expands and expands and expands, and one of the expansion fragment is Mahavishnu. He maintains the universe. That is what Prabhupada is quoting here. Yes, someone can read this one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So Pushan, Lord is the ultimate maintainer. Later in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, 42nd shloka, Krishna further explains, Attava bahunaitena kim jnatena tavajuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsam ekamshena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer.
So Prabhupada is continuing the theme. Krishna was a Brahman. He quoted Brahmano hi Pratishtanam from Bhagavad Gita 10.42. Then he's quoting, okay, that shloka. If you go back, yeah, this one, 14.27. So this shloka says Krishna was a Brahman, and this shloka says Krishna was a Paramatma. So conclusion is Krishna is source of Paramatma and Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti is concluded. Therefore, Krishna is the maintainer. Lord Vishnu, Krishna, Vishnu Tattva, they are the source of Brahman and even Paramatma, Narayana, source of Brahman and Paramatma. So therefore, Narayana is quoted here, or for us it is Krishna. Krishna is the original Narayana. Ekve Vai Narayana. Bhishma is telling, you are the original Narayana in his Bhishma Suti. So therefore, Pushan is referring to the Lord who maintains. So Lord maintains through expanding himself as Brahman and Paramatma. But what is that feature of Lord? Now, the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan is the source of Paramatma and Brahman. But what is the nature of that Brahman? Is mentioned in the next paragraph. He is Anandamayo Vaisat. Lord doesn't have to expand as Brahman. Lord doesn't have to take up Paramatma because he has no other work to do. He has most important work to do. He has his most important work of playing with his devotees, dealing with his devotees, relating with his devotees. Therefore, the Bhagavan feature, he enjoys pastimes with his devotees. That is the nature of Krishna as a Bhagavan. Yes, someone can read this one?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dhanavad
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhu. Word Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Anandamayo Bhyasat. Sri Krishna is always filled with transcendental bliss. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is always filled with transcendental bliss. Anandamayo Bhyasat. When he was present at Vrindavana in India 5,000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss, even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes. The killings of various demons such as Agha, Baka, Putana, and Pralamba were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavana, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavana was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the coward boy Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11.
Ittam
Ittam satam
Brahma Sukhanubhutya Dasyam Gatanam Paradaivatena Maya Shitamna Radharakena Shakam Vijaru Krita Punya Punja.
The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Jnanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mode of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people, played with the coward boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. Thus, the Lord is always engaged in the transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Santa, neutrality, Dasya, servitorship, Sakhya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So, Surya Mataji, you are asking this question, why everybody can't understand, although they suffer so much, why they can understand? See, answer is Sukha Goswami is given here. Krita Punya Punja. From many, many lifetimes, they are accumulating Bhakti Anmaka Sukruti, therefore they have become coward boys to play with Krishna. So, one who increases quota of one Sukruti, Bhakti Anmaka Sukruti, in suffering, he'll come to Krishna's lotus feet. He's called Sukruti. But somebody doesn't have it. In suffering, he'll go to demigods, he'll go to astrologers, he'll go to them, he'll go to consultants, he'll go to counselors, but he'll not come to Krishna. So that is a difference. It's not that devotees don't suffer. Devotees also suffer, but they run to Krishna. But non-devotees, they suffer, but they go to all other things except Krishna. So why all the coward boys they were able to play with Krishna? Because of their accumulating many, many pious activities from many lifetimes. If pious activity refers to not punya, it is bhakti. That is what Prabhupada translates it there, and Acharya speak about it. So this is a feature of the Lord. So Lord doesn't has to come as Vishnu, as expansion of Paramatma to maintain the material world, because he has much more important task of playing with his friends in his five rasas. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. But who takes care of the material world? Paramatma, feature of the personality of Godhead, takes care of the material world. Yes, Karuna Radhika Mataji, you can read this paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Paramatma, feature of the personality of Godhead. Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan Dhama, one may ask how he manages the affairs of the creation. This is answered in the Bhagavad Gita 13.14 to 18. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part known as the Paramatma or Super Soul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with the material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma who controls them all is the Paramatma, the Super Soul. The system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of the material creation, for they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord. And the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Sri Ishopanishad points towards this direction, praying for the removal of Hiranmaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed, so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead, factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. The Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of the three plenary expansions or Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as the Purushavataras. One of these Vishnu Tattvas, who is within the universe, is known as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. He is the Vishnu among the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the collective super soul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanatakashayi Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He is the creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic creation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So if you see, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is so amazing. When you go to different Divyadeshams, 108 Divyadeshams, out of which 108 is Vaikuntha Loka, 107th is the Muktinath. 107th is Muktinath, and 108th is this Shirodaksha Vishnu. This in Dhruv Maharaj section, the description of Shirodaksha Vishnu comes. It is just above the sun, but below the Mahar Loka, there is a place called as Shishumara Loka. And on that Loka, there is the ocean of milk. And that planet where the ocean of milk is there, inside there is Dvipa called as Shweta Dvipa, the Shishumara Loka. So there, Lord Vishnu is sitting with his Chakra Gadapati. And even Brahma can only hear him. He cannot see him. But Dhruv Maharaj got an opportunity to be in that planet till the end of this Brahma's life. And after that, then he will go to the Vaikuntha Loka. So Dhruv Maharaj is going to stay there forever. So what description is, and all the Shiva Vaishnava temples, when you go, if you go to the Statue of Equality also, the Divya Deshams of 108, most of them are either Shirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Because always Sri Devi, Bhudevi and other people are sitting there next to them. That is the Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Shirodaksha Vishnu. And max Karnadaksha Vishnu. There is no information about Krishna, Balaram and other things. Even if they say, they treat them as expansions of Lord Vishnu. Because that is the type of exposure they have got, because Rama Anuja is Anuja of Rama is Ananta Shesha. And Ananta Shesha only will glorify Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Max Shirodaksha Vishnu or Karnadaksha Vishnu. Basically Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And we can see by coming into Prabhupada's teachings, by reading this Ishopanishad Mantra 15, we can understand there are three types of Vishnus. And this Vishnu is also Ekamsthena Sito Jagat. It's just expansion and expansion and expansion of Krishna's expansion. So this is being spoken here about the Paramatma feature. But Paramatma feature is a personal worship. But beyond that is the Brahman effulgence. This is personal expansion of the Lord, which takes care of, maintains the whole universe. But there are Krishna, from the Krishna's body also comes Brahman effulgence. So Prabhupada is going to speak about that from Brahma Samhita. He has spoken about the three types of Vishnus who are Paramatmas. and is going to speak about the Brahman effulgence from Brahma Samhita, quoting 4.27, Brahmanohi Pratishtanam. And then Prabhupada concludes, Krishna is the root, Bhagavan is the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are the branches. Yes, someone can read this paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Brahman feature of personality of Godhead. That the Brahma Jyotir is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14.27 as well as the Brahma Samhita 5.40.
Yasya prabhavato jagadandakoti kotishvashesha vasudadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalamanantam asesha bhutam govindamadi bhusham tamaham bhajami.
In the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyotir. This Brahma Jyotir is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the absolute truth, and the Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. This Ishopanishad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyotir so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyotir effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad 2.2.10 to 12.
हिरण्मये परे कोशे विराजं ब्रह्म निष्कलं तच्छुभ्रं ज्योतिषं ज्योतिस्तद्यद् आत्मो विदो विदु न यत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेम विद्युत्तबन्ति कुतोऽयम् अग्नि तमेव बन्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भास सर्वम् इदं विभाति ब्रह्मे वेदम् अमृतं पुरुषात् ब्रह्म पश्चाद् ब्रह्म दक्षिणश्चोत्तरेण अधश्चोर्ध्वं च Prashtatam Brahmai Vedam Vishwam Idam Varisthitam. So this is being quoted from Munduka Upanishad. When Madhvacharya is quoting it in his commentary. So in north there is Brahma, south there is Brahma, Uttar there is Brahma, Dakshin there is Brahma, lengthwise there is Brahma, breadthwise there is Brahma. So that means this Brahma is effulgence is coming from Lord Hari himself. Yes, read the translation.
In the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all lights. In that realm, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and spiritual skies. Hare Krishna.
But the source of that Brahman is Bhagavan, Krishna. So that is what Prabhupada concludes here. That Brahmani Pratishtanam, Ekam Seva Jagat, then he gave a Pushan, the nature of Bhagavan, then expansion, that is Paramatma, then he is speaking about the Brahma Jyoti, and the source of both of them, the root is Bhagavan, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. They don't have independent existence. Yes. This part, already 8:30, will continue in the next sitting. Two more paragraphs, conclusion. Okay. So this will continue. Bhagavan is the root and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. We'll continue in the next sitting. We started on time 6:30. We'll conclude on time 8:30. Hare Krishna. So
Prabhuji, I have one
yes,
doubt.
yes, Prabhu. Arvinda Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we understood that Brahma one day, after that day is over, in the night it is completely annihilated, right, Prabhuji? Everything is destroyed. But actually, we have
everything in the sense till Maharloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Brahmaloka. So Tapaloka. So below the Swarga Loka, everything is in water.
Okay, so in that case, actually, we say that Brahma, Vishnu, Maheswara, the Rudra, here is he responsible for the destruction, right, Prabhuji? So Rudra, if Brahma is also going to die after 100 years, so is Rudra also going to die after a certain time?
There is three tattvas, Prabhuji: Jiva Tattva, Shiva Tattva, and Shambhu Tattva and Vishnu Tattva.
Okay.
Like when Lord Krishna comes, he goes back to Goloka. Doesn't mean that Krishna dies. So Rudra is the expansion of Shambhu Tattva. So when he does Tandav Nritya and everything gets over, that Rudra is coming from Shambhu. So he goes back to the Shambhu Tattva. But all the Jivatmas, including Brahma, to all living entities, they go into the navel. They go into Karunadaksha Vishnu at the end of Brahma's life. The day of Brahma's day, they go into the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
So including Rudra.
Rudra continues. Rudra is the eternal personality. Shambhu
Exactly.
Tattva.
That was my question. So Rudra will remain.
Rudra will remain.
Brahma after 100 years he will go, but Rudra will still remain.
Yes. But Rudra will not remain the same manifestation Rudra, but as Shambhu Tattva will remain. Shambhu Tattva is a eternal Tattva in Kailash. But not the Rudra is the manifestation of Shambhu Tattva for destruction.
Yes, okay. Understood.
11 Rudras.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So 3 more mantras left. Concluding sessions. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.